Welcome everyone, in front of me I have the iPad Pro and the iPad Mini. You may be thinking, which iPad should you be using, Pro or Mini? I want to answer that. So I've used iPad Mini 5 from 2019 to late 2020, iPad Pro 2018 from late 2020 to 2021, then I upgraded to this guy right here, iPad Pro M1. And so I've used both iPads. I also used the Mini 6 temporarily from 2021 to start 2022, although I did break it, so I don't have it on me. And so with that knowledge in mind, which one do I prefer? And the answer is I like both. And the reason why is solely because processor, okay, on the iPad Mini 6 you can get A14, on Mini 5 you get A12, and A12 is still a really good processor. On Pro 2018 you get A12X, which is insanely powerful, still powerful in 2022. On the latest iPad Pro you're going to get the M1, and the facts are, regardless, even if you get this older iPad Mini 5 or the older iPad Pro 2018, performance is not an issue, okay? Games are going to run max settings on the A12 or the A14 or the M1. You can have no problems with the gaming performance, okay? So don't even consider, oh, which one's going to be better for gaming. They're all going to be just as good. Of course, M1 is going to last you longer, okay? A14 is going to last you longer, but it ain't that bad. It really ain't that bad. Now on top of that, the actual designs, iPad Mini 5 is looking dated, okay? Mainly because of the bezels here. Look at that. Ooh. Yeah, you don't look at those. Personally, bezels are not an issue for me. I use the MacBook Retina 12-inch with fat bezels, and then I also use the iPad Pro, MacBook Pro M1 Max with like no bezels at all. I don't care. Like you just feel more motion when you use less bezels, so you know it's not a big deal. It's not like you can't look at the screen or something crazy. iPad Pro 2018 and onwards, they all have the exact same design, this modern design with the equal bezels. iPad Mini 6 also has that exact same design, but just keep in mind that the iPad Mini 6 is a bit like wider than the iPad Pros. It's not a big deal. I actually kind of like the wider design in some ways, but yeah, it's not a really big difference. The only really big difference is the size of the screen and the 120 hertz. So on iPad Pro you're going to get 11-inch or 12.9 inch. If you really need a 12.9 inch, then obviously iPad Mini 6 don't even consider it because you need the 12.9 inches. But I'm going to be blunt with you. 12.9 inches, I've used iPad Pro 2018 with 12.9 inches. I've used iPad Pro M1 with 12.9 inches. What you may notice is my current iPad Pro M1 is 11 inches. Did I, like, you know, get some compressor? And like, I don't know. No, what I did is I actually downgraded from the 12.9 inch to 11 inch because the extra screen size is just too much. 12.9 inches is just too big for an iPad, in my personal opinion. Of course, if you disagree with me, that's okay. I'm not saying the Pro 12.9 inch is bad if you get a good deal, because I used it for literal years. It was a great experience, but the 11 inch is a better experience. And honestly, iPad Mini 6 is a better experience than the 11 inches. So here is the main reason why. Me personally, you know, I just want to be using, you know, video content, stuff like that. I want to be doing mobile gaming, and I just want the smallest device possible. Not too small, so I can't actually game, but small enough so it gets the job done. And the Mini 6 gets the job done with a caveat, and that's the 120 hertz. So iPad Pro from 2017 and onwards, okay, has 120 hertz, but keep in mind the Pro 2017 has a dated A10X processor. That is not good enough in 2022. Games will not run well, so don't even consider that one. Pro 2018 and onwards, still 120 hertz, and the 120 hertz is a big deal for me. So if you don't plan on mobile gaming, that's not going to be something you need to consider. But if you are planning on mobile gaming, 120 hertz basically means you're going to get far better reaction times in gaming. You're going to be playing far better. Now, some games will not support 120 hertz. Let's say PUBG only supports 90 hertz, but that's still better than the iPad Mini 6, which only supports 60 hertz. And even if you don't mobile game, this display will be far smoother, okay? So if you just go to Apple Store, look at iPad Pro, look at the iPad Mini 6, even if the iPad gets old and it's actually like slow loading up apps, just looking at the home screen, it just feels so buttery smooth, and so that is quite a big deal for me. But if you've never looked at 120 hertz before, that's not something you need to care about. But if you have looked at it, you are planning mobile gaming, that is something to keep in mind. So really, the summary of this video is, don't worry about, you know, the other stuff, okay? The camera, the RAM, stuff like that, okay? This is an iPhone 6 camera on the Mini 5, and I took pictures in Germany, and those pictures were really good. Like, just ignore anything that people say about the cameras. At the end of the day, other than that Germany trip, that was a one-off when I just used my iPad for the fun of it. The only time I've ever used the cameras is for document scanning, and document scanning works well on the Mini 5, so it's going to work well on the Mini 6. It's It's going to work well on every iPad Pro. At the end of the day, they don't have deep fusion, which means if you take a shot and it's blurry, okay, AI, which is on I think iPhone 11 or later, will just fix the photo for you. If you scrub the photo on these older iPads, the photo is going to stay screwed up. So, at the end of the day, there's not really much difference between the cameras. Okay, you do get the center stage on iPad Pro M1. It basically means that let's say you have multiple people on the shot, it will zoom out the camera, stuff like that. It's not a big deal, really. It's not a big deal. You can live without it. Face ID versus Touch ID. iPad Minis have Touch ID. iPad Pro have Face ID. I actually prefer Touch ID, but it doesn't really matter. They both get the job done. Main difference is I had to lean my head closer to the iPad for Face ID to be recognized. Even if I can touch the iPad screen, like the Face ID won't recognize me on the iPad Mini. On the iPad Mini 6, you just click the power button, boom, you instantly get unlocked because of Touch ID. On Mini 5, you do have to click the home button, which is right there. Honestly, guys, it really is up to you. Just think about the facts of the situation here. For £500, iPad Mini 6 exists and iPad Pro 11-inch exists. Now, iPad Pro 11-inch, this is the 2018 model, does have the higher refresh rate, 120 Hz, but it's going to have the slower A12X processor. So really, if you're thinking iPad Mini 6 or iPad Pro 2018, just think about, do I care about 120 Hz? If I don't, then I'm going to get an A14, which will last long at the end of the day, so I should get iPad Mini 6. Now, if you are having as much money as you want, you're caring about Mini 6 or iPad Pro M1, well, M1 is going to last you a very long time, right? Because it's just such a fast processor. It's a desktop processor on an iPad, right? So, you could use this for 7 years, 8 years, honestly, it would run on the M1, but it's going to cost you a lot more money, right? And I personally use my iPad Pro M1 because of the 120 Hz. That's just a big deal for me. If iPad Mini 6 120 Hz, I'd recommend it more. If you don't get about 120 Hz, you could just be better off saving your money and getting the iPad Mini 6. It's going to do everything the iPad Pro M1 can do, just won't have 120 Hz. Is that a big deal to you? It may not be, it may be. You're watching this video, you're going to know whether or not that's a big deal to you. So that is the summary, right? Cheaper model, iPad Mini 6, everything iPad Pro M1 has. Okay, maybe slightly slower processor, but it's going to have the small screen. iPad Pro M1, more expensive, larger screen. Which one do you care about more? That's on you. So with that being said, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye-bye.